Hey friends, welcome back to Danny Drama. Today's subject is Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. We found some things she recently said regarding Sharla and GoFundMe's to be quite interesting.
Several of my subscribers reached out to me when this GoFundMe was posted by Down the Rabbit Hole at Bedtime and on both her YouTube and her Facebook page. And they were concerned because she was using my image and she was on her channel making all of these wild accusations about me. And she was telling her viewers that she was being taken to court by me, I guess by proxy, and that because this woman, Sharla, was in court with several of her creator friends, that this had to do with me trying to silence them with Sharla's litigation against them, which wasn't true.
Katie, is it Starla or Sharla?
So in my video, I had very few details about what was going on, and I didn't totally know the whole scope of what had occurred. And so I wanted to just give...
Why are you stumbling over your words, Katie? This is a pre-recorded video, yet you stutter and stumble. Could it be because you're not being honest?
You never have to remember the truth, Katie.
It's become clear to me that not only was the GoFundMe fraudulent in that she used my name and my likeness to raise the money, but it's also fraudulent in that Sharla's not trying to silence them, and she's also not an unstable woman going after them. It's actually the opposite.
I thought you didn't know her, Katie, so how can you say she isn't unstable? How do you know if Sharla's intentions were to silence or not?
I was told that Katie, who is down the rabbit hole at bedtime, and I found her name from the GoFundMe, and she says in her video that she started the GoFundMe, and it says it started by a woman named Katie. So Katie was saying in her videos that this woman is doing this to stop her from talking about me, and that she seems like she's on this mission to speak about me to save the world from me.
By the woman who has so abruptly turned on Renelle, who actually offered a stranger. Renelle actually gave her phone number. She was just someone from her chat. Renelle has currently shelled out thousands of dollars of her own money just to have an attorney to represent her and to ensure that all of this gets taken care of swiftly. It is an extreme financial and emotional burden that this woman has put on Renelle and myself. The first time I met Steve McCrae, I went on to this live stream with him. He was talking about the woman, and I repeatedly said, this sounds like someone with, mental illness. Like, please leave them alone. Just ignore them, and they'll go away. We didn't take this real life. This woman is taking us to court in Kansas. She is having to take money away from her family to fight this person. She's not taking the woman to court. The woman's taking her. So she's having to take money, time, emotional energy away from herself and her family to be able to fight this. Staying silent due to their fear of repercussions. Even though Katie Joy Paulson has taken her lives away from YouTube and gone onto Instagram and Facebook, she continues to bully, harass, stalk, manipulate, and victimize people around her. It is vital that anyone is free to call her out. A link to the GoFundMe I created is below, even if you can only give $5.
She has likened me to be as dangerous and as bad as some of the people I've covered. I believe she has been wholly misled about who I am by a group of other creators that have been doing this to me for years.
We don't think Rabbit has been wholly misled about you. The court stuff? Perhaps, but your reputation has been tarnished because of your own actions, Katie. It was tarnished long before anyone ever heard of a Down the Rabbit Hole at Bedtime.
Yes, many people who dislike you have come to that conclusion all on their own. No Steve, Aaron, Veda, Rabbit, Renelle, Charlotte, etc. Just your actions and demeanor, Katie.
So the truth about what's actually happening is this. Sharla and these creators, including Rabbit Hole, Bedtime Lady, Katie, all met in a Facebook group, I think called Blocked by Katie Joy. And apparently in this group, all of them would just talk about why I blocked them. And the group had become spammy and not a lot of things were happening in there. And Sharla was asked to come in and clean things up. And she apparently was upset with me because I blocked her. But I had blocked her because she had become part of this group and was accusing me of things that weren't true, and in our interactions was very combative with me.
You claim to not know who Sharla was, yet you're sure you had her blocked, and for what reason? You interacted with her and she was combative. The math isn't mathing, Katie.
Through my research here, I've learned that Sharla is a survivor of the Institute in Basic Life Principles. She followed me because of that coverage. She was upset with some of the ways I covered the IBLP, and at some point got involved with this group of people that had a Facebook group And she started to hear negative things about me, and she believed what they were saying about me was true.
Katie, you continue to contradict yourself. You say she was upset with your coverage of the IBLP, and then you say her opinion of you was influenced by these other creators. Which is it, Katie?
What ultimately ends up happening is what's happened to Sharla is what happened to me. So Sharla quickly learned that what they were saying about me was false, and she also learned that they were doing things to people and saying things about people that she didn't agree with outside of me. And they were treating people the way that she apparently didn't want them to be treated. This group of people didn't like that Sharla was not allowing them to speak about my child because she was the group admin. And they also didn't like that she wasn't allowing them to speak ill about the way I look. It was a group fight.
Your giggle tells us you are enjoying this, Katie. Not very professional journalistic behavior.
And so the reason why this all happens is because it's about a hate group about me, right? But ultimately, Sharla ends up becoming the target of Steve and all of these creators. And Sharla is not a public figure.
Steve and what other creators?
Name them. Name them.
Well, what you did was ridiculous.
Name them.
Not having.
Name 'em.
Well, be quiet. So
Name
let me
'em.
talk. Jesus.
Name them.
It's clear you know who is involved. Quit cosplaying as Vader and Erin. Playing dumb isn't helpful, and if you're not careful, you might end up on stream one day in a tube top, not knowing how to tell time. Just say their names, Katie.
Sharla doesn't have a YouTube presence. She's not a content creator. And they have been, since July, doing stream after stream after stream after stream on their various YouTube channels talking about her mental health, about her. They've been trying to characterize her as an unstable, unwell, narcissistic psychopath, all because she said she didn't agree with how they were running their page and how they acted, and because she refused to do what Steve wanted her to do, which is what happened to me when I refused to do something Steve wanted. Sharla, doesn't have a YouTube channel, doesn't have a Facebook channel, I believe, since all of this has happened, because they've been making so many videos about her, disparaging her, lying about her, slandering her, harassing her, filing reports against her, filing retaliatory restraining orders against her with merit, attempting to tie her to things that she didn't do. It got to a point where she was facing so many threats and so much harassment from this group that she filed a restraining order against Steve in Kansas. And then she also filed a restraining order against a woman named Brittany and then a woman named Erin. And the three of them, she has a court date, I think on February 26th, for the Erin and Brittany's temporary restraining orders to become permanent.
You seem to have learned a lot about this since your last video on this topic. Katie, did you just blindly trust and believe what Sharla has told you? Or did you verify any of it?
It appears your bias has led you to just trust this woman you allegedly didn't even know the name of, all willy-nilly like. Do you make it a habit to trust random strangers?
My history with Steve goes back to 2018, but his targeting of me began in the late summer and early fall of 2019. And over the years, he has interfered and caused a lot of problems for me on this platform by telling other creators lies about me. And then those creators end up making videos about me. So he can effectively hurt me through other creators. It's, in my belief, a way for him to seek revenge against me because I wouldn't apologize to him or take his side in a business dispute that he co-owner of a channel that he had that I guest spotted on, but I was never friends with Steve. I was friends with his co-host and co-owner of that channel. And because I didn't take Steve's side and because I shared feelings about what things he had said to me that made me uncomfortable, he then began saying publicly that he would destroy anyone that took the side of his co-creator and co-owner of that channel, and he would burn all of our channels down to the ground. And he gave me an ultimatum and said, I want you to apologize and I'll take you off my radar. And that was in, I think, September of 2019. And I said, no, I'm not going to apologize to you for something that you said to me. And here we are today. I had a restraining order against him in 2020. We negotiated a NDA and an agreement where neither one of us would speak about the other for a year. That was expired in 2021. The day it expired, he began speaking about me. I responded on Twitter with my experience with him. And he then filed a frivolous lawsuit against me, claiming that I had done all of these things to him, and he was trying to claim that he was a victim of me when he wasn't. So we countersued him, and we were seeking over $300,000 in damages. And he never actually filed this lawsuit in court in the state of Minnesota. You can do what's called pocket service, and you can serve to an attorney, and it allows the clients that are in a dispute to negotiate settlements or agreements outside of the court. so that you don't take up court time with something that could be handled through attorneys. And he made the decision after a year never to file it. And in the state of Minnesota, if you don't file your lawsuit that you pocket serve within a year, it is automatically dismissed with prejudice. So when that was dismissed in 2022, he was unable to sue me over those claims ever again in the state of Minnesota. And my lawsuit against him also, I can't sue him. And for what happened and what we shared in that lawsuit. And so I moved forward, and I have moved forward, and he unfortunately has not. And so he has made a lot of channels and a lot of Facebook groups and a lot of Facebook pages about me, and he has solicited women through that compete with me. So there's been several channels over the years that have been spoken out against me and made content about me that has been directly influenced by him. And Rabbit is one of those creators now. So is Renell Smith. And there's a whole list of creators that are doing this to me right now. And they're all part of the same group of creators. And they all work together. They all collaborate to target me. And they do this because they need to defend his honor. Renell Smith on her channel consistently says that she will never stop defending Steve because I falsely accused Steve of sexual harassment. I never falsely accused him of anything. And so they have created this whole narrative that I am neglectful, I'm dangerous. He tells people I'm a psychopath, I'm a malignant narcissist. He has a lot of things that he says about me. And I have thousands of screenshots over the years, and he has made probably hundreds of videos about me. He talks about me almost daily at times. He goes in periods where he doesn't talk about me and he does. But regardless, I've been a fixation of his, and they make money on it. And so these channels all work together, and Rabbit is just one new creator that's involved in this. And it appears she got involved in it because I criticized a video she made by saying that it wasn't true. And I guess I recall I posted something on Instagram about it not being true, and then some of my subscribers said, "Oh, Katie, yeah, that she does satire," and so I removed the post. But I guess me making that criticism of the video, saying this is not true, this is false, be careful what you're watching, and it wasn't to criticize that she was doing a bad job. It was just this is not a true video. And when I realized it was satire, I removed it. And so she, I guess, decided that that was a big slight to her, and she was very offended by that, and so she decided to go down the rabbit hole with me, and that's how she became connected to all these people. All of these women are told by Steve over and over and over again that I'm dangerous, that I'm a psychopath, that I am a threat to humanity. I don't know what his exact words are. One time I think he said, I'm an existential threat to humanity.
While we agree Steve is definitely involved in some capacity and clearly has a strong dislike for you, stop taking these women's agency away, Katie. They did what they did. Them, not Steve. They are responsible for their own actions, much like you are responsible for your own actions.
You stating Steve is the reason for the actions done by Erin, Rabbit, Renell and Vader isn't much different than them saying you are the reason for Sharla's actions. It is a two-way street, you see. And while we here at Danny Drama do not believe either of those to be true, you are presenting this logic in your video, which has a strong focus on Steve, by the way. And if others choose to go by your logic, it's easy to see how they could think that you, Katie Joy, are behind the actions of others.
Your first video on this subject implied you knew very little about it and the players involved. And here in this video, you seem to have quite a bit of knowledge on it. It doesn't add up. The contradictions are too much, Katie. You called her Sharla throughout your whole first video, which mainly discussed the GoFundMe started by Rabbit. And even then, there were contradictions. You are in the comment section of your own video replying to people and using Sharla's correct name. This was shortly after the video went public. Don't you find that odd?
I know I do. If you're going to play dumb and say a fake name in your video, you should try to remember that lie for when you're in your comment section.
Precisely. Katie, you explained in this video that you had Sharla blocked once upon a time and gave us the reason. She didn't like your coverage of the IBLP and was combative in discourse with you. In your first video, you claimed to have not known her at all.
That's weird. That's suspicious.
Indeed. And while we acknowledge that Katie Joy has a sizable channel and it would be difficult to remember random interactions with subscribers, we don't believe Sharla to have been a random interaction. We believe when that GoFundMe was created, you knew exactly who Sharla was and at least some of what was going on around her. And that's okay. But why tell lies? Or untruths? It is possible to have known her and some of the goings-on and not been involved at all, but you tried to play like you had no idea, going as far as to call her Sharla. It raises questions about your credibility, Katie.